Hi everyone, my name is Tina, also known as Bloomingknitter, and this is Knitting Blooms. Thanks so much for letting me share the day with you today. I know that everyone probably has very busy lives, and for you to take time out to visit with me, I really appreciate it. And maybe you're not taking time out, maybe you're doing stuff around the house. That's what I typically do when I'm watching podcasts or Let's Plays or whatever. I turn one on, either on my phone, my iPad, or even on the TV if I'm in a specific room, and I just get stuff done while I'm listening or watching or what have you. So either way, thanks for letting me come into your life today. I have been doing more knitting this week, but still not that much. And I'm considering kind of changing up the show just a little bit. I anticipate, I should say, that I'm going to have limited knitting time for a while. So what I'd like to do is kind of change the show up a little bit and focus more on your questions and things that you would like to know about. So in this episode, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I solicited on the Ravelry board earlier this week. And I just kind of asked people, what questions do you have? And so I'm going to answer those questions. And I'm going to ask you in this episode, whether you watch on Ravelry or on YouTube, wherever you watch, put in a comment and let me know questions that you would like the answer to, or if you have a specific, not a tutorial that you're looking for, but something that I can explain in more detail or something like that on the podcast. So I'm going to focus more on what you guys want to know about rather than what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is probably not going to be that interesting for a while. But you will notice I am knitting today, and this is the only knitting that you'll see in this show today. I have other things that I have worked on, and I will briefly give you an idea of what I've worked on this week. And, maybe not necessarily what progress or anything like that, but there was no real revelations as to what I worked, or revelations as to things I learned this week or what have you. I just was knitting and didn't really learn anything specific, so there's not really much to show you. And then I just feel like sometimes I just hold up my project and show you my progress, and you don't need to see that every week, honestly. Some people like it, and that's great, but sometimes I feel like I'm just filling the dead air. So I'm not going to do that anymore. What I will do is when I finish a project, I will show you the project when it's done. And at any time, you can always go over to my Ravelry page and look at my projects, look at what I'm working on. I do try to keep that up regularly. I don't always get pictures in there right away, but I do try to get pictures in there as quickly as I can. And if you go to my Ravelry page and there isn't a picture for whatever reason, and you're interested in seeing a picture, just PM me on Ravelry. I like to get messages and let me know, hey, you haven't put a picture in for this project. It says it's complete. Do you have a picture? Whatever. Sometimes I forget. So I'm going to focus on the questions today. We do have a drawing that I need to do for Knit Your Stash, both the Knit Your Stash chatter and the finished object thread. And like I said, I am going to just kind of give you a brief idea of what I worked on this week and approximately the progress that I made, what have you. Before I jump into those things, though, I do want to mention that Charity June has been nixed. Only because I completely forgot about it, and here we are, the second week of the month, and I thought, you know what? Let's not worry about it. It's not, if you've done charity knitting this month to post into Charity June, well, you're a better person for it because you did charity knitting. But I just decided I have too much going on, and we're just going to skip Charity June this year. But if you, by all means, if you want to knit some charity items, please do that. I had high hopes that I would get some knitted knockers knitted. I've been trying to get one cast on for over a week and just haven't done it. So, yeah. So sorry about that if you had planned on entering for knitted knockers, but it is what it is. And also, I just wanted to give a brief update about Sammy. I know a lot of you are getting tired of hearing about it, so I'm just going to give you a quick update. He is still on insulin. His numbers are fairly normal. I don't know where it's going to go from here. I'm kind of trying to get in the mindset that he's going to be on insulin forever now. It may not happen. He may still make it back to remission again, but I think I am getting too stressed out about his numbers and trying to increase aggressively to hopefully bring the numbers down. And then I'm stressed about the possibility of a low and having to treat a hypoglycemic issue. So I think I just need to step back and let things play out. I mean, honestly, if I can get him regulated where I can give him a shot twice a day and, you know, monitor him, you know, semi-closely, and he's fine, then that just might be how it is. So that's the update on Sammy. So, I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions, and then before I do the drawing, I'll kind of go through the projects that I'm working on. So if you have questions about those specific projects, then you can ask those for the next week's episode. So the first question is from Miss Melody, and she asks, besides color, what makes you fall in love with one yarn over another? Well, I have to tell you, color is probably my top thing. It is. Especially since most of the yarn I purchase is on the internet. Now, I do understand that, you know, sometimes when you're looking at yarn on the internet, the color might not be exact. If you're buying from an indie dyer, they might have taken a picture of their colorway, like when they first created it, and even if they weigh their dyes and they do everything exactly the same, the color can still be slightly different. So if you're buying from an Etsy shop, they might have a picture of the first skein that they dyed in that colorway, but what you get might be different. Plus, all monitors are different too, so what you get might not be exactly the same as what you thought you saw on the screen, even if it's the exact same skein that the person took a picture of. But besides color, and since I buy most of my stuff on the internet, what would it be? Well, it's hard to say, because really, if I was buying things locally or at a show or something, I would touch the yarn, and if it felt soft and squishy and just really elegant, that's probably what I would go on also, in addition to color. But even when I'm buying locally, I'm attracted to a specific color. Like, I will see a yarn from across the room that just has a great color, and I'll run over to that yarn specifically for the color, because it's visual. But then the second thing would definitely be the feel of the yarn. I have just recently used cashmere. I had used Leading Men Fiber Arts cashmere base. I think it's the Show Stealer. Base. I think that's the first yarn that I've used with cashmere, and that was just absolutely lovely to use. Unbelievable. If you have not tried that base of his, run over to his store right now and buy whatever is there that you might like, because it is amazing. And then I've recently purchased some yarn from Twisted Fiber Arts that's also got has cashmere in it, and that is also very lovely. So I guess the next thing from color would be the content. I do like merino wool. It is a softer wool, and you add cashmere to that and you just can't go wrong. Honestly, you can't go wrong. Now, another thing that I do look at when I'm looking online is also the twist of the yarn. I tend not to really like singles all that much, although Malabrigo is mostly singles, and I'm trying to try some Malabrigo because everybody is in love with Malabrigo so much. So I am trying to use Malabrigo a little bit just to kind of see, maybe I like it. Maybe its singles are not that bad. But I do like a nice twist on the yarn. I don't like a real splitty yarn, and you can usually tell if the twist is a nice twist, or if it's a plump yarn, or if it looks like it's a very loose twist or whatever. So twist is a big thing for me. What else? I think that's about it. I mean, that twist is probably what I would go to first, because I can't feel the yarn. Although if it has cashmere in it, it's more than likely going to be lovely. I don't typically go for superwash, but I have bought superwash yarns for no other reason but to, see how I like using superwash. I guess I'll find out. I haven't used it. I did buy some superwash yarn to dye that I haven't used yet, and I believe the yarn, the Rios, I think that's Malabrigo Rios. I think that's Malabrigo. That is actually applied yarn, but I believe that's superwash too, and I did really like that. So, Melody, I hope that answers your question about what attracts me to specific yarns. I know you said besides color, but that really is, I mean, look at the yarn behind me. I like color. Color is the first thing that attracts me to something, whether it's yarn or clothing or nail polish, whatever. I don't use nail polish that often, but when I do, it's because I like the color. The next question is by Jima Lissa Knits, and she asks, how did Netopia get started? How many years has it been going on, and how has it changed? Well, how did Netopia get started? I just one day said, we need to have a knitting retreat. I used to plan scrapbooking retreats when I was a scrapbooker and a stamper. Uh-oh, I dropped a stitch. And so when I stopped scrapbooking and stamping, I stopped planning scrapbooking retreats. I think I even planned a retreat when I think I stopped doing scrapbooking retreats before I started knitting. But I think I did attend a scrapbooking retreat after I started knitting, and I think I took my knitting with me. And I think that's probably why I decided that I needed to start a knitting retreat. And what I did, I believe I posted out on Ravelry, because I had people that I had never met before come to the very first Netopia, which was back in 2009. And I must have posted on Ravelry. I have no idea how people found it. It was way before I started the podcast, but there were probably at least a couple of people that came that I did not know before. Most of the people that came, I had known from other knit clubs and from my knit club that I hosted at my house. But there were people that I didn't know. And it originally started as just one weekend, which was from Thursday to Sunday. We did it like that for 2 years, and by the second year, everybody was just in love with the retreat. Everyone who came, when they left on Sunday, they're like, oh man, I'm signing up for next year. And I thought, well, I would love to have everybody back again next year, but then there will be no room for new people to come to the knit club or knit camp. So I thought, well, the last 2 years that we had Netopia, the 2009 and 2010, everyone kept saying on Sunday, oh, I wish we could stay for another week. I wish we could stay for another week. And that got my mind working. So I asked a few of the people that if we did have a longer retreat, would you be interested in staying longer? And they're like, oh yeah, let's do that. So I thought, okay, if we have a retreat over 2 weekends, then more people can come. So that's what I did. I extended it to 2 full weekends, including the week between. That way I could be there that long because I just love it, and more people would have the opportunity to attend. So we did that. And the first year, we had our first weekend group. We had a few people that stayed for midweek, probably around 6 people. And then we had our second weekend group. And it was great. Midweek was more relaxed, and so everybody kind of did their own thing. We went out to dinner a couple times. It was fabulous. Well, now everybody loves Netopia so much that we have a full house for midweek as well. So we can house, I think it's 23 people. And we almost fill 23 spots for midweek as well. We still have the weekend spots, and those get filled up, but every single year we have more and more people that want to sign up for the entire retreat. And I love that. I love that people want to come and stay for that entire time and share the time with the other knitters and with me, and it's just really fabulous. And we do have a really great group that comes to Netopia. This year I did the sign-ups a little bit different, and I think I'm going to have to do it similar to this, like this, every year in order to give people an opportunity to get in, because if it's always the people that sign up, that have been before, then no new people will ever get in. I think this year we have 4 new people that signed up that got into Netopia. Unfortunately, that meant that some of the other people that have come in the past were not able to get in, or were not able to get into all of the slots that they had hoped for. But there's still possibilities that those people will be able to get in or come up for the day or something like that, that we might be able to work out. So that's pretty much how it's changed. We've gone from 1 weekend to a week and a half, but everything else about it has pretty much stayed the same. It's very relaxed. It's very laid back. It's basically a family atmosphere where you kind of just hang out with everybody all day long, and if you need to get away, you can always run into town for a little bit. And it seems like everybody is friends by the end of the retreat, and there has been lifelong friendships that have been built at Netopia. And it's not just me, it's a lot of people. There's people that met at Netopia and have become great friends, and they go on other retreats and other outings together outside of Netopia. And I love that I can bring people together and they have that opportunity to form those friendships. But yeah, everything else pretty much has stayed the same, other than the longer retreat. And the last question comes from Spiky Sandy, and she asks, do you spin more on your Hansen mini spinner or your wheel, and why? I would say definitely my mini spinner, considering the fact that I am planning on selling my Ladybug wheel. And there's nothing wrong with the Ladybug wheel. It takes up space in the house, for one, and I really like spinning on the mini spinner, mostly because I can sit back and prop my feet up and just relax and just basically draft the fiber. Now, it is sort of relaxing to treadle a manual wheel, but honestly, I don't think I've used my Ladybug wheel in over a year. Well, I might have used it briefly to do some plying or something like that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't used my Ladybug in quite some time, and I have been meaning to post it on Ravelry for sale, just been a little lazy. I have all the information together to post it, I just haven't done it. So, Sandy, to answer your question, yes, I spin on my mini spinner more often, just because it seems more relaxing to me to just sit back and spin. And sometimes, you know, if I've been on my feet all day, or if I've been running or walking or that sort of thing, then sometimes I just want to put my feet up. I don't want to have to treadle, and that's just another another movement that I have to do. I know that's kind of being lazy, but it's just how I feel. But like I said, it is very soothing to treadle on the wheel. But I just have found that I really, really like the mini spinner, and if I had to do it all over again and only buy one wheel, it would be the mini spinner. But you know, I probably wouldn't know that unless I had tried out the other wheels and done that, because I used to have a Sidekick as well that I sold, just for the sheer fact that it's just another wheel taking up space and I wasn't using it. So if you have been contemplating spinning and are trying to determine whether or not you should buy a mini spinner or a traditional wheel, my suggestion would be go to a spinning shop and try out the wheels. I mean, most spinning shops will let you come and sit down and try things out at their shop. And I know that most stores do not sell Hansen. In fact, I think the only place you can get them is directly from Hansen. So you need to find a festival or something that Hansen is going to be at, so that you can go and try out the spinner at the festival, and then make your decision on what you would like to purchase. It's a big decision, and it's definitely a personal decision. I think that one person might say, oh no, I have to have my traditional wheel. The mini spinner is great, but traditional wheel's all the way to go. So it's definitely a preference, and the mini spinner just happens to be my preference. Okay, so before I get on to the drawings for this week, I am going to give you a brief overview of the projects that I've worked on this week, and what I haven't worked on. So I finished the one log cabin blanket a couple weeks ago. I put the edging on and everything, and I started the second one, and I'm currently working on block 4. Haven't made too much progress on that. Elk Tooth Shawl is kind of still in timeout. I had planned on finishing it up last week. I ended up taking it off the needles and blocking it because I didn't know if I was going to like it, because I totally screwed up the pattern. I didn't follow the instructions. I did not read. Well, I did read it, and I didn't understand what she was trying to do. And then I looked at the pictures in Ravelry, and I'm like, oh, that looks wrong. That doesn't look like it's done right. Now I realize that I didn't do it right. And what the people in Ravelry, they did it right. They did it based on the pattern, but I didn't like how it looked. It looked like it was done wrong, so I didn't want to do it like that. So it was in timeout for a while. I did block it to see if I was going to like it the way that it is, even though it's all skewed and whatnot, and I am just going to go ahead and finish it off, but I just haven't taken the time to do that. I have worked on the citron for my mom this week. It's in lace weight. Oh my goodness, that thing is going to take me literally forever. I have 4 skeins of Knit Picks Shadow for this project. I know I will not use all 4 skeins. I'm planning on doing, I think, 10 sections and a ruffle. And I think I'm going to do as many sections as I can with the light blue. And then if I still have enough light blue to get through 9 sections, then I will just do the 10th section and the ruffle in the dark blue. But I'm currently on section 6. I think I just started section 6. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 more rows of the pucker section, the roost section, before I decrease back down again. The polka dot scarf has gotten a little bit of work, but not a whole lot. A couple rows here, a couple rows there. For no other reason other than I haven't really done much knitting this week, and there's been other projects I've wanted to work on. The sock yarn blanket. What day was that? Oh, it was Knit Club Day, last Saturday. I decided that I was 9 squares behind on my sock yarn blanket for my 52 squares in 52 weeks this year. So I decided to go ahead and get caught up. And actually, the 9 squares takes me through the end of June. So technically, I am caught up through the end of June. I have 26 squares that I've completed so far this year. And so technically, I'm caught up through the end of June. So that I did that at Knit Club last Saturday. I just said, this is the project I'm going to work on. It's a simple project. I can chat with everybody, and I can get it done. My basic spinning fate socks, you can see that they're still in progress. They're coming along as well. I have been knitting on these. Some days, Sammy likes to go outside in the evening, so we've been going outside and just sitting on the back porch, the back deck. I've been knitting on these while I've been out there with him and reading my book, what have you. I did start 2 new sweaters, which I didn't put on my list here. I started the Tappan Zee sweater. And I started the sugar maple top as well. Not much progress on either one of those, but they're coming along, and I have a feeling that they're probably, if I work on projects when I'm home, those are probably the projects that I'm going to probably gravitate to, because I really want to knit both of them. The sugar maple top is with the Twisted Fiber Arts that I had ordered with the money that I received from Netopia, from the girls. They gifted me a nice little gift of money this year, so I purchased some yarn, and that was one of the things that I purchased because I wanted to be able to say, okay, this was basically my gift from the girls from Netopia 2015. So I started that, and then the Tappan Zee was also a gift from a very special friend, Kimberly Sock Bunny. I wanted to buy some of her yarn because she also made a Tappan Zee with her, I think it's her DK base. I don't know what she calls it. I think it's a sugar DK. But she has stopped dyeing currently. I don't know if she's going to go back to dyeing or not, and I kind of hope she does. But I mentioned it to her, and I said, I really want to buy this yarn from you. Is there any way that we can work something out? And she was so sweet. She sent me the yarn for my birthday. I thought that was just so sweet of her. So as soon as I got it, I think I cast on the next day. So I'm very excited that Kimberly and I are going to have matching sweaters with her yarn. And I really love it. It's the Ooh, That's Pretty, I think is what it is. Or I think it's Ooh, That's Pretty, the colorway. It's the bright green. So I'll show it to you in a couple weeks or when it's done. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I have started that, and I'm very excited about working with it. And I do love her DK base. Hopefully she'll decide to start dyeing again. I know that sometimes it just gets a little overwhelming, and you need to just step back. And sometimes when it's not as fun as it used to be, it's just a time to step back and evaluate and determine, where she wants to go with it. Maybe she'll come back. We'll see. But she does have some really nice yarn. I have not worked on the knit swirl at all. 0, none. The Never Shall Meet, haven't worked on that either, for no other reason that I've just got too many projects going on. Preemie hats. I have not done a preemie hat since April, and I'm pretty sure that I didn't even knit enough preemie hats in April. I think I was caught up from March. I might have knit enough for April. I'll have to check my project page, but I still have May and June. So that's probably going to be a priority for me. And I'm probably going to make the little lemon hats for my friend who needs them for the NICU, whatever, that they want the little itty bitty tiny hats that would fit on a lemon. I mean, can you imagine a baby's head the size of a lemon? But they're quick, and I can probably whip out a couple in a couple of days. So I probably will do those just to get caught up, and then I'll make the ones that are slightly larger. Ecuador, still on hold. I did buy yarn, I think it was before I went to Netopia, to do Ecuador. I still want to use the yarn that I have, but I have to re-swatch and I have to block it because it's a very stretchy, squishy yarn, and I have to make sure that the gauge is proper, or I'm going to run out of yarn and the sweater's not going to fit. Bottom line. Felted clogs, which I think I've been working on for probably a year now for Steve. I think it's a pair for Steve. No work whatsoever. And the fall mystery knit along from last year, my large, still no love. Although I did get a bit of inspiration over at Knit Club this weekend to work on it again, because one of my friends who was working on it, she kind of made a mistake and she wasn't quite sure what she did. And she said, "Can you help me fix this?" And I'm like, "Sure, let me look at it. Let me see where you are." And it was easier for me to just kind of knit a row and fix the mistakes across the row as I went than it was for me to try and tell her what she did or what happened. So I did work on her shawl for a little bit at Knit Club in between my squares. And it inspired me to maybe pull mine back out again. So maybe I will finally get the large knit up and blocked so that I can actually release the pattern with the proper name. Who knows? I don't know. And that's about it. I am working on the rest of the tutorials for the Entrelac series. Those will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I still want to do a double knitting tutorial, which will hopefully come out in the next couple of weeks. What else? Oh, I am planning on writing up the basic socks, cuff down, toe up with heel flap and gusset. A lot of people have asked me for that, and I just figure, you know what? So many people have asked me that I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I don't know how quickly I'll be able to get it done because I want it to be detailed instructions like my regular basic socks pattern. So I want to make sure that I have enough information in there so that you can pick it up and go with it. But hopefully both of those patterns for cuff down and toe up will come out in the next few months. I'm going to say the next few months those will come out. I'd hoped to have them out in the next couple weeks. I just don't know if I'm going to have the time to get them out and make them proper, you know, the way I'd like to produce the pattern. So look for those in the next couple of months. And that's all that. So let's go ahead and go to the drawings. What I did want to mention again about the drawings. It's not my responsibility to track you down. So if you win a prize on the podcast, you must contact me to claim your prize. It's really not my responsibility to track you down. And yes, you may win, but if you're entering just to win a prize and you don't really watch the podcast and you don't enjoy the podcast, that's not what this is all about. I want to give the prizes to people who are watching and enjoying the podcast. Not just because they see, oh, here's an opportunity for me to win a prize, let me go post my project and maybe I'll win. If you don't watch the podcast, you're not going to ever find out you have won, and you won't contact me because I'm not going to contact you. I know that some other podcasters, they will reach out and contact the people. I have too many other things going on that it shouldn't be my responsibility. I do give you ample time to collect your prize. I mean, I understand that people get behind on watching podcasts. I don't expect you to email me the day the podcast comes out and says, oh, I won. It makes me so happy when people watch the show the day it comes out and they find out that they win. But I understand. You probably watch a ton of podcasts and you don't always get to watch them every single week on time as soon as they come out. But I would say you need to contact me within 6 to 8 months or so, or I'm just going to throw the prize back into the bin. I think that's reasonable. 6 months? I think that's more than reasonable to get caught up. Now, usually if I'm 6 months behind on a podcast, I just say, forget it. I'm just going to jump forward and go forward from there because it's just, a never winning battle. But if that's what you do, then maybe you won't find out you win. But it's just the way that I have decided to do it. And you don't have to be a member of the Ravelry group in order to win if you contact me. If you post and you're a guest in the group, no problem. All you have to do is contact me when you win. And if you watch the podcast, then you find out that you won. Anyway, so we have a couple of winners for the Knit Your Stash Challenge. And if you are new to watching the podcast, the Knit Your Stash Challenge is basically an opportunity to go through and re-fall in love with all of your stash that you've purchased before. This is not to say that you can't go and buy new yarn. It's not about that. It's about working on projects that uses yarn that you've already purchased. For me, it's probably a good idea that I don't buy yarn, although I have bought yarn this year. I'm not necessarily on a yarn diet, but, if I buy yarn, I do. If I don't, okay. But it's all about knitting your stash. And in order to qualify for a prize in the finished object thread, you must be using stash that was in your Ravelry stash. And the reason for that is because I like to go and look at everybody's stash. And if people don't post their stash on Ravelry, then I can't see it. So it's kind of a selfish thing. I like to be a snoop and see what other people have in their stash. So it's really a selfish reason why this is why I do it. So you have to have it in your stash on Ravelry. And for the challenge for 2015, that stash had to be posted prior to December 31st or by December 31st, 2014. So if you're just finding the podcast and you've never put your stash into Ravelry, start putting your stash into Ravelry now so that in 2016 you can participate in Knit Your Stash. And you could have purchased the stuff on December 31st. I don't care when you purchased it, as long as it was in Ravelry by January 1st, 2015. So, the winners. For the chatter thread, hang on. Oh, I thought I had a knot in my yarn. I'm enjoying knitting with you guys today. This is kind of fun. Anyway, so from the chatter thread, it was the numbers, I drew from numbers 407 to 447. And I do this is, I draw from the chatter thread, I always draw from the most recent posts. So for May, I drew from 407 to 447 because those were, the last post I used was 406. And then today when I was drawing numbers, there was only 447 in there, in that thread. So the winner is number 412, and I still do not know how to pronounce her Ravelry ID, and she probably told me a zillion times before, but I'm going to display it here, and her name is Linda. Her Ravelry ID, I think, is LM, I think it's L, MECOLL. And I honestly, it might be her name, her first initial and her last name. I don't know. And I forget. And like I said, she's probably told me 16 zillion times, and of course I forgot. So Linda, congratulations. You have won a pattern or patterns of your choice, up to $10. A giftable pattern on Ravelry. So just get in contact with me through a PM and let me know which pattern or patterns you would like. So if you want 2 patterns that are $5 or 1 pattern that's $10, you decide. So just let me know which ones they are, and I will get those sent off to you. And then we have the finished object thread. Now, the finished object thread goes from the very beginning to current. So if you've been posting finished objects in this thread since January, then you have all of those chances to win a prize. So it was through, oh, I didn't put the number down, but there was 448 finished projects in Ravelry. And you know what? I didn't double check to make sure that this particular project had been used stash from 2014. So just hang tight 1 second while I jump right in here and do a quick look, because I just want to make sure, because I usually check to make sure, because it's only fair that that we make sure that they are qualified. I'm sure that everybody is qualified to, oh, this is the wrong thread. No, this is the right thread. What's the right number? Oh, I was looking at the wrong number. It's the right thread, the wrong number. Hang on. Yeah, I'm sure that everybody, nobody purposely posts to the thread, but I always like to double check. And yes, this stash is from 2013, I think is what she put in her post. Yeah. Okay, so the winner is, didn't you like that suspense? Okay, the winner is number 207, and that is Whipper Stricker. And that is, hang on, I wrote her name down, but now I'm on the Ravelry page. Steph, and she's from Germany. So congratulations, Steph from Germany. You have won, oh, I guess I should tell you what you've won. This yarn from Spinning Fates. It is her Superwash Merino base, and it's the Urban colorway. I think it's the Urban colorway. And let's see if it will focus. It's a beautiful color with blues and grays and a bit of brown. Beautiful color. So congratulations, Steph. You have won this lovely, lovely skein of yarn. It's very nice. It is a superwash, 100% superwash, fingering weight 338 yards. So get in contact with me and I will get it shipped out to you. And just like all the other international, I am very challenged when it comes to shipping international. Not that I won't do it. That's not the problem. It's just that I'm challenged with getting it into the USPS website correctly. I think the problem is their problem, not my problem. But it's helpful if you can provide me with information, like, obviously I know what country you're from, but like if you have city or province or county or whatever, because sometimes the different countries put them in different orders. So I think of it as in the way of the United States, where they have the street number, the street, the city, the state, and the zip. Well, other countries might have the street number and the street, and then the province, and then the city, and then I don't know. It's all different. And in order to make it easy for me to try and figure out, because I'm kind of a little inept that way, if you could just give me like the tell me if it's the city or the county or whatever it is that you have in Germany. I don't know. I don't live there. It'll help. We always get the international shipping figured out, but sometimes it's a little crazy. And like I said, I think it's because the USPS doesn't, they don't know either. They don't give me suggestions. Now, if I put in a US address and I put some weird thing and it didn't recognize it, it tries to find the closest thing. And then it says, oh, did you really mean this? Well, it doesn't do that for other countries. Well, why? I don't know. So, yeah, if you can just give me as much information, it will make it so much easier. But congratulations, you have won that yarn, and I think that you'll love it. And it's kind of nice that some of the international people are winning the yarn prizes, because maybe they can't get some of these U.S. hand dyers product in their hands because they don't want to pay for shipping, or the indie dyer doesn't ship overseas. Who knows? So again, congratulations on winning that skein of yarn. All right, so let me go back to my notes. I'm pretty sure that that's all I've got for today. Obviously, no finished objects. I haven't done any spinning at all. Even though I like to spin on my e-spinner more than my wheel, I still haven't done any. It goes to say that I just haven't done a lot of crafting lately. I have been spending a lot of time playing Sims. Very much enjoying that. Very much enjoying that. But it also means that very limited time with my knitting. What else? I think that's it. I am still going to try and do like a Tour de Fleece kind of spin along next month. I think Tour de Fleece is in July. I have to double check. But I think it's in July. But I might do just a little simple spin along. Maybe it'll get me motivated to spin. And we'll just have a thread for some spinning, and hopefully I have some spinning fiber that I can give away. I'm not sure. I have to check my prize bin, actually. Or maybe I'll just have to give a gift certificate. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so that's about it. If you have any questions that you would like answered, please post them in the comments, either here on, if you watch on Ravelry or on YouTube, post the comments. I'm going to try and do at least 3 questions every week. If there's more and I can fit them all in, I will. If there's too many, what I'll do is I will answer some of them in the thread and then some of them on the podcast, depending on, you know, what kind of questions they are. And if one question needs more detail, maybe I'll do that on the podcast, whereas maybe I can answer a quick question on the thread. Whatever. Ask me your questions. I want to hear from you. So that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for letting me join you for the day or for a little while. And I enjoyed knitting with you today. I think I'm going to do this more often. Sit and knit with you guys while I chat. It's kind of like being at Knit Club. So again, thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye for now.
As always, thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to contact me with your comments or suggestions, as I am always trying to improve the show. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as Bloomingknitter. You can also find me on Plurk, Twitter, and Pinterest as Bloomingknitter, but I don't frequent those sites as often. I post show updates on Twitter and Facebook, and sometimes to Google Plus and Plurk. I am Miss Aerobics on MyFitnessPal and Fitbit. You can always find all the old episodes as well as links to the tutorials on the blog at www.knittingblooms.com. And you can also follow the show on Facebook. You can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com, and show notes can be found at knittingblooms.com.